podcast is rated TV PG for fantasy violence and language. Welcome back to Star Wars Birth of the Republic tabletop role-playing game. Episode 16. I'm Kirk, and I will be your storyteller.
I am Andrew. I play Hakru, the Zabrak Scout.
I'm Eric. I'm playing Lashara, the Bothan Noble.
I'm Greg. I'm playing Dodd, the Human Scoundrel.
Yeah, I'm Seth, playing Jad Marketa, the Rhodian Scoundrel.
This is Mary, and I will be playing Rura, the Tagorian Scout.
All right, last time on Star Wars, we were still on the Throgan Construction Company planet and dealing with the two gentlemen who were captured lurking around the construction company. The group talked to Haro and got him to give them some money to go investigate where the Tatari are sort of based out of, and that's Goshi Station, or Goshi Base. And they were returning from checking out the ship, which was all pulled apart. The Ripper was all pulled apart for repairs and upgrades, when one of the buildings on the campus was blown up. And that's basically where we start. It was a construction building.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, you guys had just left the hangar. I was still inside, but, hangar doors being open.
Yeah.
So I'm, 100 feet behind you.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Just in case that matters.
You can't miss it. I mean, it shook the ground. This place went up. And it was, they do a lot of trying to figure out, what would this construction company have that's so massive? They have sort of ships and raw materials in places. They also have a fabrication factory for big things that they have to put together all at once and then transport to the locations and stuff. So it's a pretty good size factory with other factory buildings, storage, construction vehicles and things like that are all stored here in the thousands. So there's all kinds of buildings and things. And this was a refinery that was blown up that you think. But it was nowhere near anything. It doesn't look like, from what you guys are looking at, you're not sure if it was working today or being used. So basically this building is a ball of fire going up into the sky. So
That actually makes me a little bit more calm, because originally I thought it was our host's apartment building.
No.
How far away is it from us? Do we want to head over there? And
It's not far. It's near. Well, I don't know if we'll be able to see this or not. So
Yeah.
this is his private quarters that you guys are staying in. I want to say it's one of these that got blown up. Okay. So the hangar the ship is in that you guys are at is back here. So I'm assuming you guys were walking somewhere around here when you saw it explode.
Yeah, back towards them.
okay.
Or just at the very least, maybe they're able to see it over that
You felt
weird L-shaped building.
Yeah.
By the time I got this up so I could see it,
This-
where was the...
This is the huge factory that's at least 4 stories tall, that sort of thing.
And where was
one
the
of
hangar?
these? The hangar's
On there.
way back here. So you guys were walking right about here when this one of these went off.
Okay.
And Lashara, do a force check to see if she can sense if there's people there.
Yes, you can. I think you can use the force for that. It's been a while, folks, so we're going to be doing a lot of looking up stuff. That's not the page I wanted.
Just while Lashara's looking up her rules, her crew is going to sprint out of the hangar from working on the ship,
Okay,
run over to make sure, like, as soon as he sees his,
right.
run out of the hangar, run up, sees everyone, and is like, what's happening? You know, he's running up to them.
All right, Lashara rolled a 17 on use the force.
All right. Sense surroundings, cover concealment. Yeah. That'll let you ignore cover and concealment for a detect or observe targets until the start of the next turn. So you can sort of do a pulse out and see if there's anybody in the building that would be hidden from you. No, nothing comes up. There are lots of people that are starting to come out of other buildings now, and there's a klaxon going off. It looks like there's some vehicles being turned toward that are construction vehicles that may have like water or the ability to do something like that to help. So, and
I'm going to be paying close attention to anybody that looks out of place or seems to be going the opposite direction of traffic, that kind of thing.
that would be a perception roll.
I rolled an 18, and I had 9 to that, so 27.
You do a scan through, and you don't see anybody moving in the wrong direction or watching it strangely or anything like that.
You know, and walking in slow motion.
Right. Or like with a smile on their
No one is
face, like,
standing back
yeah.
watching except for us.
Right. Yeah, most everybody else is sort of moving toward the fire that's now taken over the building. And this was like a 2-story building. It wasn't anything huge, but it's definitely went up.
So Lash tells everybody, I don't think there's anybody inside. I can't feel any life coming from the building. It looks to be all just the building itself that's in trouble. We should probably get a hold of Haro.
Okay. You guys are standing out in the middle of the street or in the middle of this plaza. It's more like a campus with walkways and things like that.
Real quick, are Leto and Nanat with us?
No, they're both not.
Okay.
You haven't seen them in a while.
Hakru is going to get on his comm and call for Leto.
Okay. You hear him. I'm here.
I was trying to get Leto.
We're here.
Oh, we are here. Okay. It's like, where are you? There was just this big explosion.
I'm in the bath.
It is probably safer there. Harder to catch fire in town.
Make a perception roll.
Gonna re-roll that. I am keeping that.
Okay.
Okay, so 17. Really? Only? Oh, it's half level. Okay. So then I have a 27.
Okay. The camera does this thing where you kind of like look from the fire over to the place where you guys are staying, and you kind of look up through the levels, and the camera zooms in on Nanat's got his hands against the window. He's soaking wet, so he looks like a rat, and he's looking out the window at the fireball, and Leto is kind of floating up to the window next to him. with a scrub brush.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
That's impressive. What happened?
I do not know. But, we're doing a head count of the crew to make sure that everybody is safe.
Ah.
And the only people who were amiss were you and Mr. Leto.
Oh, I'm gonna get dried off. Dry me off. Well, I don't think I hit, and the comm stuff turns off.
Yeah. At that point in time, I unclick the button and
Yeah, you see him. You see him move away from the window, and he's like pointing at Leto, and Leto's turning and following him.
Since I mean, do we want to go check this out? I want to go see what's going on. She starts walking that way.
Okay.
Has anyone... I know Lash suggested it, but has anyone actually called Haro yet? Would you take that as a no?
I'm guessing that's a no.
So then a crew calls Haro.
Okay. It takes a minute for before it finally connects up, and you hear him sort of out of breath. What's going on? Have you guys seen anything or found out anything?
Head count first. We see giant flaming building. We've located ourselves, and we've located the Nanat and Leto, and now I'm calling you. How are you?
I see the smoke off in the distance, and I'm heading back now.
Where are you located?
I'm in the city.
You're in the city. Okay. And it looks like it was one of your fabrication buildings, I think is what Lash said, and she tells me she does not believe anybody was inside.
That makes sense. All right, I'll be there and shortly.
Should we wait, or is there like a fire department that we can call for you?
The crew should be on it, and if there's local fire suppression teams, it should be on their way.
Okay, we will stand by then.
Click.
I'm
clicks
still
out.
walking towards it.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, we're gonna go
following
stand by
Rura.
a fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Rura.
Okay.
What is forensics?
In what context?
What kind of skill would I need to try to figure out if this was
Oh.
a bomb or a...
That would be under the natural
strikes
sciences.
Okay. I have social sciences. That's not going to get me there.
No.
Anybody... I look at
I
everybody
have
around me.
life sciences.
Anybody have any idea as to how this started?
No thoughts, just vibes.
Gotcha.
Knowledge.
We got to look for an engineer. We've got to have those.
Knowledge.
I'm very well trained in mechanics.
Different kind of engineer.
It could be anything from knowledge tactics to knowledge physical sciences to maybe even technology. So if anybody has any of those, that's probably where it's going to fall under.
Gonna have to just rely on good old perception.
Yeah.
Well, Lash is going to start talking to the crowd that gathered, especially anybody else that she thinks might have been in the plaza, to see if anybody else saw anything before the event took place. My attempt is going to be to use the gather information skill.
Okay. Do a perception check just to see if you can find out anybody that's being treated or got burned or hurt or anything like that.
Let's see. 22
22.
perception.
You see there's two people that were walking nearby when it went off. They're not hurt or anything, but they're dazed. It's like they got knocked down from the shockwave. And they're kind of sitting on the ground, and people are sort of sitting around them, giving water and things like that.
Okay, yeah. So Lash is going to go over and try to help them, calm them down,
Okay.
and see if they have any kind of information to what was happening.
Okay. Gather information.
21.
Yeah, they're not resisting or anything. So they were walking nearby after lunch, and it just exploded and knocked them to the ground. They didn't see anything out of the ordinary, and just were not expecting it at all. And their injuries are like ringing ears, that sort of thing. One person fell down and skinned their elbow, that sort of minor stuff.
Do we get the impression that someone would have to, like, based on how we've seen the operation happening
Right.
in this town, do we get the impression that someone would have had to time this correctly so as not to injure people?
Roll a gather information check.
All right.
Because I assume Dodd's just talking out loud to the other people in the group and the people sitting down.
Yeah, but apparently he says it and stumbles over his words. I got a 1.
You still add it to your
Oh.
skill.
Okay, 11.
Yeah,
then.
that beats the 10. So somebody, you say that, and then somebody nearby says that plant's not on this week.
Okay.
That refinery wasn't being used this week. So
Who knows that schedule? I ask.
um,
Everybody? Common knowledge?
he says he kind of points to one of the other refineries, and there's sort of like a smoke coming out of it. He says you can kind of tell when they're not being used
Gotcha.
because they don't put off smoke.
Okay. Well, hey, take care of yourself. I'm sorry.
Yep.
That,
And there's like 5 or 6 people all standing around. They're all kind of answering you with the same, one person points over there, and one person's like, well, it's kind of, obvious. If you've been on the campus before,
did roll a 1.
when these things are
Okay.
working, or when they're loud, they're churning out byproducts and things like that. And there's usually people in and out. But for this last couple days, there's been no one in here at all.
Crew's
Okay.
going to lean over to Jad and just go, why would someone blow up an empty factory? Is this maybe a distraction?
Could be a distraction or to prove a point.
Yep.
The point is lost on me.
Yeah, me too.
I think the point is, Hakuru, that these people who are wanting to cause damage to our benefactor can get to him. They're just letting him know.
Yeah, I think that we need to go talk to Haro and get his take on this entire matter.
He said
And
he
she's
would
going to
be
start
here.
heading. Yeah, she's going to start keeping an eye out for him.
In a couple minutes, the city fire shuttles come in, and they start spraying down the area with some sort of foam, and it instantly stops the heat and the fire. A minute or two later, I don't know if you guys have ridden it or not, but Haro's speeder comes up, and it's a big Cadillac sort of speeder. And it stops pretty close, and he gets out without letting the driver open the door for him and everything. And he walks over to you all, and he starts mumbling under his breath, possibly curse
an
words for the
idea?
kiddos.
Okay. So just general, goddamn, this sucks.
Right.
Or, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Haro, what kind of security do you have here?
He looks at you and goes, apparently not well enough. So,
Cameras?
he says, yeah, we do have some monitors just in case an accident happens or something, so we can
So
look
that
at
data is recorded, is
Yeah.
what you're saying. Archived.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I go have a look?
He says he'll have to go with you. It's
That's fine.
secured. But he
For
says
us,
let's.
all of us.
He checks around and does a circuit of the site, makes sure everyone's okay, talks to them, talks to the fire crew that's putting things out. It takes about an hour, and he comes back to you guys. He says, okay, let's go back and check the video feeds out.
And during that hour time, does the knot get to us?
Yeah, he shows up not fully wet, but looking like he didn't have time to fully dry his hair. So he is droopy. and Leto shows up too with a little, like some sort of weird little hand dryer thing that he's clamped onto, and he's slowly like going over it, even though when he stops. This is impressive.
Yes, when Mr. Haru stops He has finished his account. We are all going to go, and you're going to review some security monitors.
Sounds good. Hopefully they don't try to blow up the ship, the Ripper.
He says that. Hakuru's eyes get real wide. It's like, maybe we should go look at that and make sure it's secure in the meantime.
He says me and Leto can do that. And he sort of turns and walks off in that direction.
In that hour, can I get into the Cadillac and just start rifling through things for fun?
Yeah. Yeah. The driver is standing there, and he kind of looks at you. He knows who you are. So you get in and start shuffling around.
I'm just going to go in and wait on everybody and shut the door behind me.
Okay.
And just see if there's anything to find.
Roll a... What would that be?
Perception?
Yeah.
A 15.
15, you find... What would you find in a...
Art?
I'm thinking along the lines of, like, it's a far-flung idea, but if he was in on it.
Oh.
And if you've got anything in the car that he might have accidentally left. It's a far-flung idea.
This thing is pretty pristine. Even up in the part where the driver is, it's got like... You find Haro, a little tablet thing with Haro's daily schedule and when he's needed, some road flares, that sort of thing. And even if you pop the trunk and go look, there's nothing really in there. There's like a day bag in case he's caught out somewhere. It's got like a fresh change of clothes. It looks like a nice set of clothes and like an everyday sort of set of clothes with some toiletries and stuff in it, but nothing incriminating. And the driver's kind of, you open the trunk and looking through stuff, and the driver's kind of standing there eating an apple, like watching you do this. It's like,
Making sure there's room for my e-web. It's fine.
the hour finished up. Anybody else want to do anything?
Unless you think that unless looking around, it seems like there's something I might be able to glean from the scene, but it seems like it's emergency services,
Yeah.
fire
That's what
department.
unless
Yeah,
there's
we'd
anything
probably
obvious to
just be
help
in the
with,
way.
like-
Mhm.
yeah.
And it seems like now that the fire's out, they're sort of doing scans and stuff of the area with like lasers and things like that to, I guess, holo record the area for research or things like that.
Forensically put together the scene.
Yeah.
The insurance company has a high stake in what's
Right.
going on here.
I'm gonna ask one of the if I can find somebody that looks like an important part of the fire department that's not immediately engaged in trying to do work. Maybe somebody scribbling on a pad or something. I'm gonna ask him, walk up and politely see if I can get his feel on this situation.
He says at the moment it doesn't look like anything other than an explosion, so we don't know what kind of things he was storing in there or anything like that. So we don't know if it was an accident or
Would you
more.
say that the burn is consistent with an intentionally set fire or explosion, or
He says
hard
it's
to say?
It's hard to say, but this is a pretty complete destruction. So
Yeah.
if it was accidental, it had to have been like a lot of volatile material inside that just went up all at once.
Okay.
Because usually if it's an accident, like it's a side or a portion, and then it spreads everywhere with the fire. But he says it looks like the initial explosion took out the building completely. So, and they're saying it's just an ore that was stored in here. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, that would not blow up like this.
I was going to say, do we know if that stuff's flammable?
No, it's not. It's like a crystalline. It's a building material, so they wouldn't want to build buildings out of it and have it blow
I
up.
think of it like almost like an ivory or something you could build buildings out of.
It is literally
Not
selenite. So
Selenite?
if you know what selenite looks like, that's exactly what it is.
No
It's
idea.
crystal. It's a crystal that grows in straight strata.
Oh, cool.
It's luminescent, that sort of thing. So
More white colored, right?
White to almost to white to translucent. Yeah, it comes in different colors too. Depends on if there was like iron or something in the area that it
Can
grew
power
with.
a lightsaber with it. I just need to
No.
power my lightsaber with one of these.
No, but in Ghostbusters, it was the internal cores of the main building was selenite, so
Oh, okay.
it's a conductor of light, basically. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I watched it later on, and I was like, "Hey, I know what selenite is." When I was young, I was like, "Oh, nobody makes them like that. Nobody's ever made them like that." Anyway, hour goes by. Haro walks back over and goes, "Let's go look at the footage." And he looks
Yeah.
very like,
Stone faced.
yes, very no nonsense. You haven't seen him this sort of like
Not at all jovial.
driven. Yeah, very serious. So you guys walk over to the main building, and he walks in and he stops and he turns around and he walks back out and he looks at the doorways and everything. And he turns to one of his droids and he says, "All the entrances have to be locked with a passcode immediately." And the droid, and he walks back in, walks over to the elevators, and hits the button and it opens up. It takes you guys upstairs to his office at the penthouse, and he goes over into his suite and his big gigantic desk. He pushes a button and like a screen sort of comes out of the top, and he types in a code and he says, "These are the cameras."
Okay. Let's start with a minute after the explosion and watch it in reverse
Okay.
in real time for a while. See what we could see.
Okay. It's like 4 cameras are on the screen that are all the cameras. Like one's on the doorway, and the other 3 are inside. And the explosion happens and reverses. It takes about 20 minutes of rewinding before you see someone. It's in reverse. Leave. Right.
Yeah.
And then it goes back a little bit more, and they've spent about 20 minutes inside.
Okay.
And it's a hooded figure
Of course.
with a cloak on that you can't get any. There's no way to get any ID. And the person did go through the building and plant several charges, like around the perimeter.
And of course, there's not going to be any fingerprints or identifying markers after a fire like that.
No, and gloves. I mean, the person's in all black almost.
Okay. Do you have surveillance around the rest of the campus? Maybe we could see how they entered the campus.
He starts following it back and like pulling up different cameras, and the person basically comes from the spaceport in the city, in that direction. Like he just all of a sudden he just turns the corner and walks straight in. It doesn't look like anybody's looking at this person or noticing them either. They're just walking casually at a base speed.
Can I roll a perception to see if there's anything that stands out about this person
Yeah, perception.
or anybody else that has high perception? Ooh, a 20.
Cool. The
So
Hakru, real quick, just while we're doing rolls, Hakru would be noting things that he walks past to get, or I'm assuming that they walk past in order to get like a rough estimate of this guy's like size and build. Like, is he like, okay, he's standing next to the door. How tall is he compared to the door? How wide is he compared to the door? Kind of like taking those internal measurements to start building something inside of his head.
building a profile.
It's a basic. It's a slim figure. Looks like it's close to 6 foot tall,
Okay.
or whatever that would be in Star Wars.
In broad sense, do we feel masculine, feminine?
That
I'll roll for it.
Unclear. I did roll a 20 on my perception, by the way. so my-
what's your total
Oh,
for
no,
that?
30. 30? No, sorry. 29.
Okay,
29.
because I'm going to say it's like a 35 to discern that from
Okay.
video, and it's not like it's perfect video because the Star Wars video is always like
Yeah.
lines through it, and
Lines and, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
scan
a
line.
construction
They're
yard.
effectively walking around in a tarp. Like that's why it's like,
Yeah.
okay, do they look tall? Do they look fat? Like these are things that would show up in a tarp.
right.
When you said
The shoulders
that
don't look any
peop-
bigger than they should, or
Yeah. When you said that people aren't noticing him, are people specifically not noticing him, like not looking at him at all, or are they
Correct.
just not paying attention?
when you say that with Greg's perception rolls, he's like, yeah, it doesn't look like people are really looking at this person like at all. Like they're not avoiding their look, or they're not like doing a glance up and a glance down. Like
Like they're
people would
literally
like look
unaware of his presence.
right. People look up and then look like line of sight goes past him as the person is walking toward them. Like they're looking like they don't even recognize that someone's there.
Is that
This is
something
when-
that you guys can do with
Oh,
what you've been learning?
The mojo.
that's actually what I was starting to think, because the is it Jaina?
Jaina.
Jenna?
Master Jenna.
Jenna.
Yeah, Jenna. Okay. Yes, Jenna was teaching me how to cloak my presence using the Force. This could be a more advanced version of that.
Well, I do remember that there was some old friend of yours that caused some problems with us back in the past. This person doesn't remind you of that person, does it?
No. They the
I'm pretty certain whether or not the game master thinks so. No.
well, no, I'm actually Cruz remembering our last discussion about it. It's like, no, they're a little more direct.
Not their style.
No, they would have
Little
blown up the
shorter.
hangar with our ship so we couldn't go anywhere. Not a building that no one was in. That
Right.
see, different target, different line of thought.
Gotcha.
Or
Makes sense to me.
she would probably kill Haro right off the bat, and that'd be it.
That too.
It's
Like I
not
said, more
non-subtle.
direct.
Also,
Weird
also
forces.
she's shorter than the figure that you're tracking or looking at.
Well, that's, I mean, in a strange way, that's kind of a relief.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, the old friend, as you put it, she used the weird ways to find me. Maybe, points at Lash, you could use weird ways to find this one.
Oh.
It might be possible. I'll talk to Master Jenna about it. But I also think, since they came from the starport, we should send somebody over there to investigate who just arrived on planet. Maybe get a transponder, get some information about.
Maybe there's some security tapes there too.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't know. You guys think
as
that
Dodd
the
says, work the angles.
When you go through the other half of the footage after the explosion, or the 20 minutes after they left, it looks like they go back in that same general direction, very
Okay.
casually.
We could go down there and find out all the ships that came in about the time it turned the corner, and all the ships that went out right after it turned the corner. Maybe
How
narrow it
long did
down.
it take us to get to take somebody to get from where we are to the spaceport?
Probably about 30 minutes. Walking as slowly as that person did, about 30 minutes.
And they were real casual about it, right?
Very casual.
Point being,
They could be
we
still-
are 2 hours post explosion now, so they could have gotten there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And or taken off.
Right.
Right, that's why he was saying check the departing
Yeah.
ships.
Haro says, let me make a call real quick. If you guys want to head on down there, we'll see if I have some pull to let you guys look at the security tapes.
That'd be great. Save
Sounds
me a
good.
little bit of time trying to convince them.
Okay.
It wouldn't take too much time.
yeah. And Lash is going to go back and ask some very pointed questions to Master Jenna about
Okay.
sensing residual information in the area, or getting some lead through the Force.
Okay.
Only we had a bomb sniffing dog.
That's
Hakru will go with Lash,
Okay.
so that way we can also utilize a speeder to get to the port to catch up to everybody.
Okay. I assumed since the Ripper's all torn apart that you had sort of transported the holocron to
Stuff like the
your.
holocron.
To her quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
The place is big enough to do anything you want in there. I mean, you can do calisthenics with aerial flips and all kinds of stuff over furniture and shit. So it's not like it's
It does sound fun.
hampering your style.
Yeah. No, that's
It's the
reasonable.
most space you've ever had.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have a droid come in and stack a few things up, and you can flip over that and stuff, and still have like.
Probably not the most spacious Lash has ever had. Let's be honest.
But does it
That's
have a
true.
dark cave?
Actually, I thought we described this is more posh than even she's accustomed to.
Yeah.
This is like old money, and Lash is like old money, but not like
Medium money.
ancient money, you know. So
Yeah, that's cool.
it's almost like this is designed on some other temples or something. That this place is just it's 40-foot ceilings in your rooms. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like what's the palace in England that they always talk about? They had like 30-foot ceilings in all the rooms and just crazy opulent during Louis the 14th's reign or something like that.
Gotcha.
Crazy. This is what that is. It's like to the nines. So, all right. So Lush and Hakru are going together. Dodd and who is going to the spaceport?
Brewer's
Going
going
to
to the
Okay.
sport.
All right. So are you guys walking, or are you guys going to go and get a? Yeah. How are you guys getting there?
Carl, can your driver drop us off?
Yeah. He turns to one of the droids and he says, "Tell him to take him to the spaceport and wait for him." The droid's, "Yes, sire." Turns around and heads off.
Thanks, Haro. We'll get to the bottom of this one way or another.
Okay. And he turns around and starts dialing up a person that he's going to talk to there. So you guys head out. The two going back to your room get there before you guys get down to the car. And you got walk inside, and it looks like Jenna is sort of still there, looking out the windows at the destroyed building. Hands behind her back, just gazing out the window.
So Lash is going to say, Master Jenna, and she bows in the proper way to get her attention, and then she's going to ask if by chance she saw that event.
She says, "I did not until it happened."
And Lash is going to say that that building belongs to a friend of ours, and we would like to find out if there's anything that we can glean through the Force to figure out who might have done this. Is there any Force skills that can be used to pick up any kind of information?
When reviewing the security footage, we noticed that a hooded figure seemed to pass right in front of people, and they did not see him at all. Enter the building, place the charges, and then leave. It was very reminiscent of what you are teaching me to do to suppress myself. It just seemed like a different application of the same theories.
She turns her head slightly towards, you can see her profile, and she says, "It is a power that some have attained. If you want to try to sense this person through the Force, they will also be able to sense you if this is what you want to do." And she goes back to look outside. You basically become a beacon as a searchlight that can be seen from miles around. or solar systems around.
Crew kind of.
Yeah, I think Lash and Hakura just kind of look at each other, like deciding whether or not this route is worth it.
Let's see. Use the Force. And she says, it's a simple thing that I've already taught you how to do. Where's it at? Well,
Question. If Lash was to look and I was to conceal her, would that maybe lessen her chances of being as bright of a light?
she says it's going to be like a searchlight in the dark. And this is sense force. She goes, you can sense the force of others. The range is in kilometers, so if they're still on planet, you might be able to get a hold of them. If you knew who it was, you could use telepathy, and that could be quadrants of the galaxy away.
It's safe to say if we knew who it was, we would not be trying to look this way.
So Lash
She
looks
says
at.
the steps are if you've sensed this force user and make contact, then you can use telepathy to contact them through the force later. But you would also be visible to them.
So Lash is going to look at Hakru and say, I think this is something that we should talk to the rest of the crew about. I don't know if I want to be a beacon without their knowledge.
As someone who has been a beacon without my own knowledge, yes, I agree.
All right, let's go grab some speeders. And she turns around and bows to Master Jenna and says, Master, as always, thank you for your assistance. I'll be back as soon as possible.
She nods her
Crew
head.
bows too, but clearly not as practiced. Like it's very much an afterthought. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah, she still has her back to you, and she nods her head a few times, looking out on the plaza.
Cool, yeah. So Lash is just going to head down to where we keep, or wherever we can get transport. You know, we
Okay.
have some speeders. I don't know if they're in the hangar or with us, but
They would be in the hangar, and they're out of the ship because they've taken most things off the ship to make it easier to move things in and out.
When we exit the room, the crew's gonna hit his comm real quick and go like, "If you guys are still at the building, we've just finished our conversation and are on our way down. If not, we will meet you at the spaceport."
I think they are on the way right now, probably.
Just missed him. Oh well.
But Nanat says, we're still in the warehouse. We haven't found anything.
I was talking to Dad.
So you guys get to the spaceport. Pretty big, pretty good size. Like Chicago O'Hare, it's a great big spaceport. You guys pull up. One of the security guards, comes out and asks you, who you are or what you're doing here.
I introduced myself and told him that I think we're expected.
He looks down at a pad and he says, "Are you Dodd and Company?"
Yes.
He says, "Okay, yeah." And he kind of points you where to go. You guys, the driver takes off and goes through the rest of this place and parks in front of a business building, sort of, where there's lots of other vehicles parked around.
Got it. I'm observing, like high alert, everything that's around me as much as I can take in while we head that way.
Okay.
And I don't care if I look like a damn fool doing it.
Okay. Perception rolls. And about this time, Lash and her crew make it to the warehouse hangar where the ship is. And the Knots pulled out 2 speeders for you guys. Looking around, you see Leto up high, kind of doing a scan. He says, we're going to secure the hangar from now on and make sure that no one comes in and out without us knowing or being aware. So the doors are being closed and sort of locked now.
Before we leave, can Lash get a hold of Haro via communication device?
Yeah.
She's gonna call him up on the comm and ask him if he can spare a moment to review his, quote unquote email or his own communications to see if anybody had anything to say directly to him about this explosion, thinking that someone might have wanted to claim this.
He says, no, I haven't gotten any communications about this on that level.
Okay, and then she's gonna tell him that we're gonna head over to the spaceport to help Dodd out and see what else we can find.
Okay. He says, I'll call over and let him know you're coming too.
Thank you.
And you guys head out. You guys are sitting in a lobby for a couple minutes, and eventually you see speeder bikes outside come and stop, and it's Lash and Hakru. And they get out and come in.
I get a 27 on the perception check you asked for.
Nothing crazy is going on. Nothing out of the ordinary. It looks like business as usual. Flights are going in and out. This looks more like the administration building for the spaceport. So a few people are coming in and out, but it's not people bringing food in, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
A couple more minutes go by, and a gentleman comes out in a very nice cut suit. And he, shakes people's hands. He says, Dodd and Company?
That's us.
Get a name real quick. Jeez. He says, I am Tylo. Write that down. So I'll need that later.
Pleasure.
And I'm the administrator for the spaceport. And I'm a friend of Haro's. Tylo and Haro.
Great. We're hoping to have a look at your security feeds because we believe that we have at least a small physical description of the person who bombed the
Okay.
refinery or his property. And we're hoping maybe we can figure out from the security feeds how this person left here.
Certainly.
Yeah.
He says, we don't know what aliases they were using, but we can try to find them on the recordings. And he kind of motions you all toward the center of the building. You guys get there, and there's an elevator lift sort of thing. Get in.
I missed something, I think.
He just points you guys to the more center of the building, and there's lifts there. And you guys get in, and lifts go down below ground.
Oh, gotcha.
Opens up onto a hallway, walks around a couple corners, and eventually gets to some double doors that open up, and there are all kinds of monitors in this room with all kinds of people going over them.
Okay.
Just monitoring them in general. It doesn't look like a flight coordinator, but it looks like these are all security folks that are in here watching doorways and entrances and that sort of thing.
What did this guy say his name was?
Tylo.
Tyler, how many of these stations can you afford to have dedicated to this search?
He walks up to the main wall that are monitors, and he says, let's start by focusing on where your security cameras last saw him in that direction, and we'll watch for those.
Did I have enough brains to bring time like this is the time that we think that they should have entered into the
he was going
spaceport?
he was going down this street walking casually,
Right.
and so they pull up like a little virtual map, and he kind of taps on some of these things, and the feeds start coming up in those areas.
When he starts giving the description that he had, we're looking for somebody in a cloak that looked like this with this color, roughly this tall, roughly this build.
He guesses a timestamp when to start watching for it, based on the speed he was walking and things like that. So they rewind a little bit, and they start watching. perception rolls as you guys are sitting there all kind of watching these 15 different cameras.
20 total. So roll
24.
11 plus 9.
What was that, Mary?
26.
24.
Okay, 24. Eric?
The low roll
I
right
do-
now is 20.
I do look at you guys when you get back and ask, how did it go?
They're all
when
with
there's
you.
a-
They're all with you.
Right.
Before you guys were taken
Okay,
down.
so in the intermin.
Yeah.
Okay. We will we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's see if we can't.
All right.
Let's see if we strike as you say, rich here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 26 was the highest?
Yeah, I got 26. 16 plus 10.
Okay.
19 for me.
Nothing. You guys are watching these things for about 30 minutes and you're not seeing anything that's even remotely significant or matches the description or anything like that. There's a couple times you're like, oh, is that? And then it's somebody with a family or something with their hood down. And
Right. How much access to the outside of this building do you have? Views.
it looks like someone that you're watching have like an intersection where, vehicles are sort of coming in off of a road, that sort of thing. So a couple of them have like a block and a half.
Okay. So if this person decided to ditch the road, they could have easily done it between where our cameras back at base and
Right.
these cameras.
Right. Unless anyone wants to spend a force point.
I'll spend one.
Okay.
That's a D6.
Yes.
Oh fuck yeah! I'm at 31.
There you go. You guys are standing there, and you're kind of like, oh, I guess we missed it. He must have gone somewhere else. And Hakru, you're like staring at one, and then out of the corner of your eye, you catch a speeder, like taking, like with a cloaked figure on it, and the hood is down, and it's off on a street next to where it's being monitored. And you're able to stop them and have them rewind it. And literally, it's your figure walking that may have come in and turned early and then took an L shape in. And there's a bunch of speeder bikes like sitting on this area because it looks like it's a bar or something. And he just walks over and gets on one and fires it up, or the person does, and then takes off.
And the hood is down. You said for this?
Nope, the
Not
hood.
down. Okay.
Even when he's riding, the hood is staying.
Okay.
That's some skill or Velcro tape.
Would anyone know are speeders trackable on this planet?
No. And he says,
What direction is?
yeah, one of the guys says that heads off to the edge of town. I mean, there's nothing in that area. Like, why would they be going there? There's no ports or anything off on that side.
I don't. If there is nothing there, there is nothing to look for, which is a perfect place to hide.
The,
Yeah, I mean, when
the
we
guy with
ran-
the
we-
headset
we-
looks at you and goes, oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, when we
Left.
ran runs on my last ship, we landed outside of town all the time.
Flash looks at them as, do you have any kind of flight control access here? Is there any way to see if there's someone that entered the area on your sensors without coming to the spaceport? Maybe headed in that direction?
He says we have like a planetary sensor array to catch things sort of out a while, but if it's not registered with us, it's just going to be a blip. But we can scroll that back too. And he looks at the time stamp and he says, points to somebody else. He says, bring up the the scan relay Alpha 2-1, and he says, start time frame this and search planet for blips. Yeah. Let's see. It goes back, and in an hour, they're about 9 flights that take off planet that are in various areas
But don't go to the spaceport.
that are not associated from the spaceport. Yeah. And
What are the closest ones to?
well, Tyro says it could be any of them because if you're trying to be stealthy, the thing is not to take off directly from your landing site straight up, is to take off and go a while and then go up and out. And we don't have any surface tracking. It's all orbital, leaving orbit, coming into orbit sort of stuff.
But we can start to narrow that down by, if we assume he went to his landing site, which is over there, then there's the question of how, far is, you can kind of use some deductive reasoning and get the idea on which blip might be him. Either way, we have to go we have to go to the physical site to see what's there. Because also, he may not have gone. Clearly that there are plenty of people who come and go without using the spaceport.
They do some figuring. They say it's about 3 blips that took off in the general vicinity that you can go check out if you want.
Sounds like a lead to me. Do we want to go check out this location?
Agree. Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I feel like we owe it to Haro to figure this out if we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys,
Although I've got a feeling if we go back to base, someone's going to claim responsibility and throw some threats down. Like somebody's
already-
gonna send a transmission.
Yeah, I've alerted Haro to keep an eye out for that, and he's gonna give me a call if anything comes through.
Perfect.
And Leto and Nanat are actively locking down and guarding the Reaper. So at this point in time, it's us to go. We are free to pursue leads that we find.
I shake the hand of the guy who runs the space station. And I thank him very much for his time and his attention and apologize for the interruption in his regular business workflow.
he says it's all this slow day, slow week. So this has been our excitement for the week.
Gotcha. Okay.
And some of the other people turn around, they're like smiling, like this is fun. We don't get to do this very often.
All right. So we
so
need to
which
get
lines of work?
Yeah, you guys.
we need to get some transports. Do we want to split up and head to 2 sites at one time? We're going to go.
We have 2
all
speeders. You have 2 speeder bikes and a speeder.
Yeah.
The Cadillac. So
And a driver.
Mm-hmm.
So
How far away are the 3 general vicinity spots from each other?
One is a mile away. The other is 804 miles away,
No way.
and the other one is 104 miles away.
so
the
8
two
miles
are-
it is.
Yeah, at that point in time, it's just go
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
These
Okay.
speeders move.
Very
from my
fast.
recollection from the movies, these guys move at like 400 miles
Yeah.
an hour or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so you hit, but it's the difference between like being a minute or 2 away from our friends and someone being 2+ hours away from their friends.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, more to the point, if this guy had 2 hours to get on a speeder and go there, which one is most likely? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? I'm saying it's between 1 and 2.
Well, those are the points in which it left.
Orbit. Like going
Orbit.
straight out. Yeah.
So like wherever the ship could have been, it could have like I think that's what the guy was trying to say. It's like they could have picked up in spot A, flew 800 miles, and then gone up and out.
Oh, so we're not talking about. I got you. We're talking.
You
about
might
launch points.
Right. You might hit some landing spots. You might hit all landing spots, but the possibility is someone being super stealthy would have picked up and then flown
So we have no
wherever
way to
and
track
Would have
that.
literally flown under the radar.
right. And once it gets out of orbit, like the sensor doesn't pick up. So unless they
And we have no sensors on the ground to tell us where to start.
No.
either.
Right.
No. So you
So
can go check them out.
basically, we head off in the direction that we watch them head off on the video, and make that our route to the first spot,
Right.
and go from there.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
your idea. Let's do it.
So a mile away, you guys get there in a blip, and it looks like there was a ship here, and lots of footprints around, lots of trash all over the place, like food wrappers and
Not our guy.
empty containers. Yeah.
Next one.
Next one was 104 miles away.
Yeah. Blip,
5
blip.
minutes later.
Takes another blip, and you guys get there, and it looks like there was a ship camped here for a while. Like there were stake poles put in, like they put some sort of tarp over. Again, campfire, that sort of thing.
This one, Hakuru's going to take a little bit more of a just investigative look around.
Okay. Perception roll.
Mostly trying to see like how old like the fires and shit were.
I also rolled perception and ended up with a 22.
Okay.
24.
The fire was from the night before, and it looks like there was 3 days worth of fire being built. So that may have been here like 3 days. Camped for 3 days.
Or used a lot of wood.
Yeah. The amount of ash is a lot for just one nightfall of stuff, unless they had a bonfire, a rager.
What about footsteps? Does it look like there's multiple sizes of footprints, at least? Even a dumb person like me would notice the difference there.
Looking around, you think you see about 10 or plus footsteps, different sizes and that stuff around.
Okay.
So there may have been,
Probably.
yeah.
Probably not our guy.
800.
800.
You guys get on the bikes and take off. This takes a little bit longer to get there. When you arrive, it's about dusk. Perception rolls.
Hey, 20.
Rerolling that one.
So 29.
I got a 30.
Okay.
I also
I got a 20 total.
Okay. The 29, 30, anything over 25, you guys get there and look, and there is a large area of burn on the ground where it looks like something came and then took off at a great rate. So
Okay, so somebody was definitely trying to conceal their
stuff's, yeah.
their departure point.
Yeah. In the burn radius, Peter's teardrops out in the direction you guys were coming from.
Okay, so this is probably our guy, but is there anything else that we can pick up from here that... No?
Nothing that looks like.
Speeders don't really leave tracks, do they?
Unless they're leaking or something like that.
Well, we
But-
can determine. We might be able to determine more information at the spaceport now that we have this blip isolated. Maybe the orbital system can determine where, what heading the ship may have left.
Or the type of ship, maybe even?
Or
Yeah.
since they know the blip, if they have it registered, like if they you pick up the transponder as they're leaving.
Yeah, I don't know if... Could. You'll have to go back and talk to them.
Okay, let's do it.
Head back to the spaceport. Pull back in and ask to see Tylo. And he comes back and he says, "Did you find anything?"
Strangely, yes. At the... Or do you remember the point that you showed us of a departure about 800 clicks out? Clicks, miles, whatever their unit of measurement is. It looked like the kind of launch where someone was trying to conceal their departure point. So we've got a feeling that this is our guy, girl, person.
Okay.
Is there any other information you can give us about the ship that departed from that point? Satellite image, transponder code, identification markings, anything?
If they're not coming into the spaceport, we don't tend to track those. We're not a planetary defense system, so...
Yeah, I get it.
Is there anyone who would have planetary
No, not that I know of.
Were there any other ships in orbit coming into that intersected that plane?
He says we can go look.
Okay.
You guys go back downstairs. Security. He sort of pulls up the blip monitor, and he says, "Well, they took off quite a ways out, so there's nothing
so
that it even
nothing
remotely intersected." Yeah, and if he was watching for stuff too, he could have picked a perfect window, or they could have picked a perfect window to fly out when no one was around either. It's so far away from the main hub that, unless you had somebody eyewitnessing crop dusting or something.
Man, in Star Wars land, it's really easy to commit crimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He goes, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, head on
Well,
the
I
end.
hate to
Yeah.
go back to Haro with nothing, but we've got almost nothing.
Okay.
Thank you again for
He
your
says,
time.
no problem. Tell Haro I said hello. We'll have lunch next week.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be in the mood for it.
I hope so too. Let's
When we
head
get
out.
outside, this is when Hakru goes, so I guess now is probably a good time and Zenny to tell you what we found out from Master Gina.
Several hours in the car and you can bring it up then.
Right.
This is not something Hakru likes, so yes, he would look for any other option.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Okay, go ahead.
Now, she said it would be very difficult if they had already left planet, and it looks
Okay.
like they had. But there is a way where someone can open themselves up to the Force. Like, still very uncertain if that's the word. And become aware of other people who use these methods. But when you do that, it makes you a beacon, she said. So they would be just as aware of who is doing it, as well as, possibly where they are, and so
We're-
would
We're not
anyone
certain
else
that this
within the
is
range.
Got you. We're not certain that this is one of those Force users anyway, right?
It's highly likely.
Okay. I think
I would, if we were placing bets, I would put my credits on it.
What do you think, Lash?
I don't feel comfortable being a beacon of any type. We don't know what we're dealing with quite yet, and they already just showed they can get close. And
Too
I don't
close.
want to bring any danger to Haro. So unless it's our only and last option, I'd rather not go down this route. She kind of bows her head, looking sullen about it.
I don't know that it's. How likely is it? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I think we should go back and see if Haro has any information, and maybe start scanning the network to see if anybody's talking about this.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Seems
more
like-
skilled Force user.
What about your master?
She was well. The master is not exactly tangible to this world.
I've seen her.
Right.
You've
Seen
seen
her interact
holocrons
with
too.
things perfectly solidly.
Yeah.
Didn't she shake somebody's hand?
It might be possible. We didn't ask her to try. We'll check it out.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure we can assume this is the Tatari coming to let Haro know that he's getting into their business and they don't like it. What do you think, Jad?
Yeah, that's where I'm falling in. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, but I don't like to make decisions.
Gotcha.
Are those two prisoners still here?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, we should check on that. Meanwhile, man, I would love to blow up their garage or something. What do you guys think?
I'm down for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, it would be good to go talk to those guys again.
Okay.
All right, you guys get back in your vehicles. Quick jaunt over to the Throgan Construction Company, and you guys park. And he drops you off at the main place, and you guys can park your vehicles, your speeders. And you get there, and Leto is answering the door when you guys show up. He says, "ID? Oh, it's you guys." He opens up the door.
The crew produces his ID for Leto.
You have an ID?
I was gonna say,
I didn't get an ID.
You guys come in, and he shuts the door behind you. And he stays in that spot and monitors the doorway. Nanat's
Hang out with Leto.
Nanat's like made a hammock in the back near the ship, and he gets out of his hammock when you guys come in.
Oh, okay. We're at the hangar. Right, because we have to drop off the. Okay.
Right.
I don't know
That's
why
also
in
where
my
the
head
dudes
we're
are.
back at the at the main apartment building. Like, Leto's running security here. Moving up in the world, buddy.
He says, "Did you find out anything?"
Not anything substantial.
Been very
I
quiet
think
here.
that, yeah, one hooded figure made their way to the building, set a bunch of explosives, left, detonated it, walked back to the spaceport, got on a speeder bike, rode that out to a vehicle, where we don't know where that is,
Right.
took off for space, and when they did, they flew out about 800 clicks before they took a vertical ascent. So they
That's
were
what
well
I-
away from.
That's what I
yeah.
would have done. To clarify timeline, figure arrives, figure leaves. 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, the bomb went off. So it was a
Okay.
time detonation. I don't want to think that they were like click and then walked out while all the chaos was happening.
In slow motion.
but we wanted them to walk out with the explosion behind them and
Yeah,
not look
yeah.
back. It would have been cool.
I mean, like if it's 30 minutes or something like that, according to the time we have, that would have been enough time for them to walk all the way to the spaceport,
Right.
which is where they got on the speeder. So they could have gotten onto the speeder, clicked a remote from there, depending on how wide this remote is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there is all kinds of
30
possibilities
minutes
that could happen.
casual walk isn't much of a transmitter.
right.
Right.
All right, so you guys get to. Did you guys want
We're
to?
gonna
He's got
look at the dudes that are
dinner. Dinner's ready. Basically, when you guys go in, one of the droids says that Haro's
Oh.
getting ready to start dinner. If you'd like to join him, one of the
Yeah.
protocol droids. You guys go up to the main dining hall, and he's just walking around, like looking at some food.
While we're at the spaceport, Jad wanted to have a look at the two guys that were still, or when we were at the garage, Jad wanted to have a look at the two dudes that we had in.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's only because I wanted to spill his lunch again. It's no big deal.
Oh, okay, all right.
I would actually like to at least call somebody to make sure they're still there, because if this was the Tatari, it could have been a get our people out of where they can spill information to the other guys.
Okay.
Distraction.
Or kill them.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
two.
You could ask one of the
But
droids.
I don't know where they are, so yeah.
They're in the garage somewhere.
No, they're not in
Aren't
the
they?
garage. They're in another
No,
building.
No, you guys drove into the city or
Mhm.
a warehouse somewhere.
It was
Mary
fairly
knows more
close.
than I do.
I think it was fairly close, but it wasn't.
Jail's way back here.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you
So
guys
a radio,
big,
radio.
So same compound,
Okay.
just
yeah. It was like a building, an old building they used early on that they just converted into some sort of storage for a while, and then they had problems in the past with workers, and so they created some sort of holding cell with metal bars and things. Nothing crazy, but it's solidly built. So you guys can talk to a droid to find out, or you guys can walk over there. It's a little bit of a hike, but you can get there if you want.
Well, I'll walk over there. I want to verify my. You guys run along. Go ahead and make some excuses for me. I just want to go and see that these guys are still alive, and then I'll meet up with you for dinner. Fair? You're welcome to come with me if you want.
I'll head with you.
Yeah. I just don't want to disappoint Haro. Okay.
All right.
Yes, we will go tell Haro what we found out.
Okay.
beyond the city, and then we will wait for you to break bread.
No, you don't have to wait. You guys worked. Please enjoy some food. I'll be there as soon as I can.
No,
We will
wait.
All right.
It's okay.
All right,
Okay.
Jed and I go over there. They
You guys,
go.
there is a security guard still there, and he looks tired. He's kind of getting ready to sit down and have some food. And he stands up when you guys arrive. And he turns around, opens the door. You guys go in. And they're sitting in there, Omar and Shone.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And that's what I say. I look at them and I go, seriously?
They stop and go, "What? We're just getting ready
Well,
to eat."
Did you hear that explosion?
Yeah. What was that all about?
I'm gonna casually walk by their table and
They're in a cell.
feet on the floor.
They're in a
Oh,
cell. Yes.
I did it last time.
Okay.
They're in a cell, yeah,
So-
with bars and everything.
So I look at them and I say, okay, just level with me, guys. Do you have something to do with that?
With what? We just heard an explosion.
Yeah, that's the thing. Any ideas?
They kind of look at each other and look back at you like, "What? What? What? Are you, why would? What?
Okay. Next question. If I was going to describe a figure as dark and always wears a hood, black clothing, stands about as tall as me, does that remind you of anybody that you are aware of in your organization?
One of the guys, his mouth drops open. The other guy turns white.
Oh, good. I feel like we're getting somewhere.
He says, "That's the enforcer."
The enforcer. Okay. And I'm guessing that this enforcer goes places and no one ever sees them
He.
till it's too late.
We don't know who they are, but they're lethal. They're the big gun.
Okay.
They don't get pulled out unless it's something major.
And you're certain by my description that that's the one person in the organization that you're aware of that it could be.
Walks slowly and confidently. Yeah, hooded. That's what we've heard from others. And no one gets close. No one's heard them talk. We don't know who they are. But usually when they're dispatched, pretty terrible things happen. Yeah,
Smash
Yes.
from where?
from the Tatari, the big cheese.
The base.
From the base?
They've been at the base a couple times to receive orders or to get fueled up. Terrified everybody.
You've seen their ship.
He says, "I haven't personally."
Okay. I, out of character, I feel like there's an important question I need to ask this person right now because they're giving us
Model of
information.
ship they heard it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, I kind of was asking. You didn't know. Was the
He says it docked.
question.
It docked at one of the ports, and no one heard anything or said anything. So
All right, a sense BS roll.
okay, it's a
I rolled a 10.
Perception.
That is perception. Wouldn't that be
detecting lies is what you're doing.
okay?
I think we did this last time. It's a perception.
Okay, it's not the opposite of deception. Gathering
Correct.
information is perception. Okay. All right. 20.
He doesn't
Pass
know
the
anything.
vibe check.
He doesn't know. Yeah.
Okay.
From what you're getting is everybody who's encountered this figure has been pretty shock and awed or scared, or they tell a tale of one person like bumped into this figure and choked and died like right there in the spot.
All right. Gather information roll.
Sure.
28. Just milking this for anything that seems
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So when the ship arrives, like they don't track it. No one goes out to try to do anything with it or supply it or anything like that. It's like wherever it's docked at, no one even goes down the rampway in that area until it's gone.
And who holds the leash of the enforcer?
That they don't know.
Okay.
They say this
But
this is
Probably
dispatched
not
from.
moved on.
No, they kind of chuckle when you say that. This person is a big gun.
Okay.
Whoever's running the Tatari, they dispatch this person out. Like this is, yeah.
Fellas, you've been real helpful. Thank you.
They kind of look at each other. Like one of them say, as you're leaving, one of them says, "I'm surprised he didn't come and kill us." And the other one goes, "Oh shit!"
Right?
And
Well,
the door closes behind you.
yeah.
Or the GM forgets you exist.
Right.
Yeah.
I look at Jad and I say the same thing. You know, I thought the same thing. Okay. Well, I feel like we've got a lead now.
Yeah. Let's go back and tell everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. Strangely, I'm suddenly not interested in dinner. And we go.
I could
You
always
guys
eat.
get there and the food's laid out and people are eating. Haro looks up at you when you come in with a pretty serious look and goes back to eating.
I thought I said wait.
We waited.
He's eating.
I
The
mean,
crew waited.
Finished.
We're not finished. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll sit down kind of next to Haro and dish up a plate politely, small
Okay.
portion, and start eating and have a big drink, and then I'll wait for him to talk.
And now the crew eats.
Wow. Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, the crew waited. He said he would.
Okay. Awesome.
Haro says,
I like it.
"What did you find out?" He gets to a point and wipes his mouth and sits back a little bit.
Same. All right. Turns out the two guys that you've got in the chamber had a little bit of information. After traveling 800 clicks out and getting very little, those two happen to have a little bit of juice. So here's the deal, and I just kind of lay it out to him, give him the descriptions. Kind of,
he didn't even know that there was a individual with explosives, as far as we know.
No.
oh, no, he
Right.
did because he was watching the video with us.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Almost got me convinced, Eric. Almost.
Yeah, and one of the and I was going to say one of the things that I know we didn't role play this, so we can yada yada through it, was we were supposed to come back and tell Haru what we found out there, and that Dodd and Jad were going to go talk to the prisoners. So
I mean, we could just easily.
right, we're yada yada
Yeah,
yada.
we've been sitting here talking to him while they were questioning the guys. So.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. We
However you
explained-
guys
yeah, well,
wanted it to happen is how it happened.
Yeah.
Either way, I filled him in on the last bits. And I said, it sounds like it's the Tatari. This guy called the Enforcer. I don't know. And I described some of the things that these guys say, that the feats of astounding magic seemingly bump into him and they fall choking. Have you heard of anything like this, you guys? I'm looking at Hikaru
Haru says. Haro says no, but they
Crew
they
doesn't
also
stop eating.
they also mentioned the person as a ghost or ghost at one point.
I think it was just luck that we found him on the video cameras. Honestly, just dumb luck.
Lash says that she's read about people using the Force for evil, and corrupt means that would definitely fall into this category.
A crew, I feel like, might have more first-hand experience.
The crew has only known people to use it in these means.
Well, there's Lash. Lash doesn't do that stuff.
This is true.
Yeah. So, you think this solidifies it? We're dealing with someone who spiritually connected to your superpowers, right?
Seems so.
What do you guys think?
I think it's time to call on the Tatari.
Yeah, I want to blow up their garage.
It very much seemed like we were going there anyways. This just kind of more
Incentive.
Well, we
It's
also
another
know.
word. Yes.
I know that there is somebody out there. You know, if there's any ships we don't recognize, or you suddenly feel a weird thing, maybe pay attention.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
does this does pique my interest, and definitely sends a warning if there's somebody that's trained in the use of the Force in this manner and capable of this type of evil and destruction. Um, I feel it's necessary for us to confront this person, but all of a sudden I'm weary of how good they may be.
I I think it's terrifying, frankly, you guys.
It's absolutely
It's
terrifying.
Quite.
how many more days do we have till our ship's ready?
I think 3 more days because we added on the extra thing he added on.
Yeah.
To add another day. Haro says, let's talk more about this in the morning. I think we all need a good night's sleep to get some distance between this, and we'll go at this again at breakfast maybe or afterwards.
Lash says, "Okay. Before we finish, are we sure no one was injured?"
Yeah, no one was injured, and I have implemented security points at all building entries. Everyone's been issued IDs, and he sort of waves, and a droid comes in and gives you guys like a little code thing.
Little
And
cylinder.
yep, and gives each one of you that. He says, so if you wouldn't mind, before you enter all these places, just check it, and they'll have someone there, or a droid will be there matching up the code cylinder image with you.
I do have one question though. If no one has answered, perfectly fine. But if this man's such a big shot who do such devastating things to people, why blow up an empty building?
That's one thing that I've been wondering about too. Unless they think that they're going to coerce Haro into joining them.
It makes sense when they're trying to make a point. Um, a lot more, a lot stricter actions occur with murder than arson. So they might just be trying to send a message, is what I think, and this message delivered in this way might just save this individual's life. For if he had taken someone else's, I don't know that I could let him live if I encountered him.
Fair enough. It just strikes me as this is a man that other nefarious individuals fear. And this, it doesn't seem like enough.
It seems like an odd mission for somebody of that caliber, doesn't it?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With just what we have seen with the Chitauri, it seems very much that there would be, they've got lower men on totem pole for this. Now I understand, they wanted precision, they wanted it done right. This
So you're
seems like
thinking there's going
this
to be
seems like
second
sending
attack.
like a battleship to catch a trout.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I agree. This is like using a very, very big weapon to do a small job.
Well, I think the only way for us to find out is to send a
Well,
greeting party to them.
yeah, I agree. Although Har, they haven't contacted you. No one said anything to you. No communications, no
No.
comms, no threats, no,
No,
demands, nothing.
no, nothing
That's the
yet.
other part that's confusing. If you're going to send a big dog out there to do something so dangerous or so explosive, let's say, use precision to make sure that no one gets hurt, and then don't offer credit or don't claim credit, don't make a demand, don't push any buttons. That's just strange. Almost
They
like
may
they want
know.
us to be focused on this while something else is happening.
Well, and they may know that we're on their case. They may understand that we would interpret this signal just as we have.
Who are we? Like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, we're the instigators of their loss of business.
I said, didn't you guys incite like a whole planet to riot?
I mean, we're good at that, though. That's different.
Incited the whole planet to riot.
I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what I've heard, but I feel like you guys were the instigators. So
Through the lever.
we make a good target.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that is
So
like,
attack
again,
our
though,
ship. Attack us. Why
This is
attack
gonna-
Haro's facility?
right.
Why not? I mean, if
Because-
it's also his business that's causing them problems, then attack of opportunity and or send a message, and at the same time,
I do not
send it
remember
to
them
more than
running
one
through an
person.
adjacent square.
Well, always remember that they wanted the tour.
No, they moved out of your threatened area.
Yeah, that's it.
They wanted the tour. Our actions have caused them to lose a significant amount of money.
Did that
And Haro profits.
and that building was where you were storing the tour?
No,
I don't believe so.
but he says the amount of damage it's caused and being rebuilt is probably what the amount of Tor that I would have had to purchase through that third party would have cost me.
So this is just straight up organized crime, eye for an eye stuff.
Seems
Think?
that way. And if they did send in such a heavy hitter, it's a very clear warning shot.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Especially if they know we have their two minions who are definitely going to squeal on whoever this,
And why did they leave them alive?
don't know, unless
They
to
know we have
disseminate,
them?
unless to disseminate information.
I say, if they're so good at keeping out of sight, these two guys are the only reason we know to be afraid of this person.
Well, the
Or
only
as
thing,
afraid as they are.
So they were the message. Interesting.
and the only thing that we can assume, if all this is true, is that this is absolutely a setup of a trap.
Yeah, so we need to when we
Yes,
go.
no, we agree on this.
Yeah. So when we do what we're going to do, that means we bring bigger guns than they expect.
I like
So-
to hear that.
Let's figure
now
it
our
out.
eyes are open.
Yeah. Like I want to tractor an asteroid right into their base. Something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Haro
What do you guys
says,
Satisfying.
Haro says, that's enough for tonight. We'll talk about this tomorrow at breakfast. Everyone get a good night's sleep. And he stands up and points to the droids, and they start clearing the tables. You guys all go back to your rooms. Is there anything you want to do for hit the hay for the night? The talk went late. The talk went late, so it's
Yeah.
like 11 o'clock.
I'm going
When,
to put myself into the. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say Haro kind of like gets up and leaves before us, right? Like we're still like
Right.
kind of looks over at Dodd. Is it possible that they did contact him and warned him not to say anything?
I look around, and then I look at you very seriously, and I say, "Not a chance." And I shake my head. Is there a role for, like, subtly trying to convey something that you're not actually saying? Like,
It'd be a perception roll for the night, talking to him to see if he's hiding anything.
oh no, I meant what I'm
No,
trying to.
he-
pass
He's
the
trying to
secret
see if
message to
crew
walk
picks
through.
up what he's putting down.
Yeah.
But here's what I can tell you
a big
specifically
wink.
is that it's going to go right over his head. Like
Okay.
a crew, like you say like absolutely not, and he goes, "Okay, that was just a thought." And the crew picks up his dish and goes.
Okay. I will make a perception check.
Okay.
Would it be gather information or it's 1 point?
It's perception for the deception part. If someone's
Okay.
lying or hiding something, or
Well,
12, you don't think so. This guy's been pretty much straight up honest with you guys about everything.
okay.
And he wasn't steering the conversation away from anything or in a different direction. He seemed to let you guys do a lot of the talking, and he interjected here and there. But you guys directed most of where the conversation was heading. So, anyone else want to do anything for bed? Like I said, it's late. He's got breakfast scheduled for early.
Before everybody leaves, Lash is going to ask if there's any way that our own crew could help speed up the the mods on our ship to
Basically,
get off
no.
port?
He's
Her
got
crew
so many
has
people
already-
working on it and round
Yeah.
the clock. So,
Okay.
like, literally, we can't
Yeah,
help.
I think
Yeah,
that I think the additional thing that was added on takes like 2 days, and he's doing it in one. So it's already
Yeah.
they've rolled pretty good. So
But I was going to say also, her crew was already planning on helping because training mechanics, and literally we've already accomplished everything that had a crew
Yeah.
once.
I think it's laid out in certain steps. Stuff's got to be put back in, and I don't think there's any way to cut corners with more crew in the way. And at a certain
Gotcha.
point, you know, too many hands in the engine block, you just have people getting in other people's ways. So
Do a brief check on computer to see if I can find anything about a shadowy figure called the Enforcer on bulletin boards or rumors. that
yeah,
sort of thing.
go ahead and do computer use.
Alright.
You want to get pretty high.
I
Maybe go
figured-
check Reddit.
Yeah. Basically, I'm going to check Reddit. Yeah. All right. I rolled a 19. That gives me a total of 34.
Yeah, this figure has been operating for about 15 years. It seems like in and out of different areas, and it's all been. It
Does it feel like for hire work, or does it feel like they're working for someone
this-
specifically all the time?
This is an assassin for hire. It seems
Okay.
like you. There's no trails of people hiring, but it seems like they always go after political targets or like they would be working for something. It doesn't seem like it's personal hits or anything.
So this guy's not level 5, is what you're saying.
Right. And you also, with that high roll, you start picking up that occasionally this person or this figure does warning shots first, where they go in and do something that's kind of
So
flashy,
this fits the MO.
and then if they don't, then then it looks
They don't
like
comply.
it's
Then it's
ground
hurts
leveling,
for
ground
yeah.
leveling, like
Oh. Okay.
burning out. It's Lannister style, burning out the family and all the friends and everybody they know and their cattle and their sheep, and like
Always
it
be the
gets pretty crazy.
Got it. Okay.
We should probably increase whatever security here with that information as much as possible.
Yeah. So
Okay,
that
so-
can be done in the morning. Anybody else? Any Jedi holocron stuff or anything? Or
Being this late, I think Lash is going to, go back to her quarters.
okay. Jenna's not around. The holocron is glowing slightly.
Yeah, she's just going to go to bed then.
Okay. Next morning comes. It's really early, like 6 o'clock, when you guys are sort of awoken by protocol droids and told breakfast is ready. You guys go in, and Haro is very quiet. When you tell him about what you've heard about the figure, he looks really grim. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about specifically, otherwise Haro just kind of goes through breakfast really solemn. Not shook, but worried.
This is stark contrast from 2 days ago when he was like, I'm not worried about these guys.
Right. Right.
Slash is going to ask him about his security and, what he's got here and how secure it is. If he needs some people with him at all times for a bodyguard, we're very worried about his own safety.
He says it doesn't sound like we can do much against this individual if they decide to make a move right now. So I'm just going to increase security as much as I can, more cameras. We're going to start closing off avenues of entrance to the campus and make sure that, if they do try to get in, they would have to go through certain points. And that way, if something happens, then maybe
Well,
we can
know-
provide information.
Good.
I was gonna say,
Provide information.
you might want to have people actively, like, watching the cameras because it definitely looked like while you could see him on camera, you couldn't necessarily see him in person.
Right. And we'll also station droids around too that are visibly searching and patrolling and things like that on sort of a random schedule, so it's not so easy to predict when they're going to be in places. Because if the cameras can pick them up, then a droid sensors should be able to pick someone up as well, hopefully.
Lash asks Dodd and Hakru, and even Jad kind of gets everybody involved here, seeing if we don't really have anything else that we have to do here, but if we can, have somebody monitoring cameras. I was going to suggest that Lash is going to offer her services to basically bodyguard, since there is a Force adept involved here, and she asks Hakru, would you like to work in shifts with me to protect Haro? We owe him so much, and I fear for his safety with a Force user lurking about.
I am always willing to work where I am needed. If the ship is progressing just fine, I have no problem protecting Haru's body.
Haro
So
says,
that's what Lash is going to do.
I appreciate it. And a droid walks up and hands him a pad, and he picks it up, and he stands up immediately, and he says, Odant's here. And he puts the thing down and starts walking toward the door. He's landing right now.
I crimp up my collar. I'll go with you if you want me to.
He says, we'll meet him in my office. Show
All right.
him up to the droid, and the droid nods. Would you like to meet Odant?
Yes.
What is a dant?
I think it's about time.
Odant is the
I remember Odant.
Sub boss.
Yeah. He
For the
threatened Haro, and I just have he threatened him and needs to die. That's what I have written down.
so you guys go up to the office. He sits down and kind of arranges some stuff on his desk, and he looks nervous, and he's tapping his finger. And about 15 minutes later, the doors to the lift open, and there is what is his race again?
He's a Reyes.
Grand?
Reyes.
He's a Gran, yeah.
Grand, yeah.
So he's got the 3 eye stalks and the big ears. And he's dressed very nicely, very professional businessman. And he walks slowly into the office. And
By himself?
by himself. And he gives a slight bow. He says, Haro, it has been a long time. It's the same voice. Haro, it's been a long time.
Does anybody else think this guy just screwed up? Like Dodd's thinking to himself in that moment that he has, I could just pull my blaster and shoot him. I could just do it right now.
And Lash is thinking, I hope none of my friends pull their blaster because this guy hasn't done anything directly to us yet.
Haro
I have
says,
my hand on my blaster, but then I think he came alone, knows he could get shot. He's not the top tier.
no.
And again, a crew is no thoughts, just vibes.
Yeah. Haro says, so what brings you here today, Odant? He says, I heard you had trouble yesterday, so I thought I would stop by and see how you're doing. Make sure no one was hurt.
It was very kind from you. Who did you hear from?
Word gets around.
Like I should let her crew do all the gangster negotiations from here on out.
Is there anything we can help you with?
Lash says, who is we?
The diplomat. Da-da-da.
He turns around and goes, who are you? Haro, you haven't introduced me to your friends. He kind of looks at you guys. and
Hello,
does-
my name is Hakru. What is yours?
I'm Odant. And he walks over and shakes your hand.
Do we see any kind of markings? You know, that we've seen the Tatari have patches and emblems. He does.
Yeah, it's emblazoned on him. I think that's what we're
It's
picking up here.
a beautiful metal brooch that glimmers slightly.
Out of character, that voice, Kirk, reminds me of Kingpin from Daredevil on Netflix.
I feel that's appropriate.
Yep. And he looks to the rest of you. Says, "Who are you?" And he turns to Lash.
And she like tilts her head down a little bit and like catches him directly in the eye. And she says, "You know exactly who we are."
But he asked.
He says, "I'm afraid I don't know who you are. But I would like to know who you are, since you're here and asking questions of me." It's the polite thing to do.
So I'm gonna be aggressive here unless you guys say something else otherwise.
This from the person who didn't want me to shoot him. Okay.
No. I'm not gonna hurt the guy.
Grab his eye stalks.
However, I'm about to, So 'cause what I have written down is that Odant was assigned to put an end to the Ripper. That's what we had discussed before.
I think we should absolutely go with this accidental good cop, bad cop with Lash and a crew.
Yeah, I have it written down here. I'm sorry. I just read it. That Scoria is in charge of Odant, who is just a puppet. They've been tasked with dealing with the Ripper.
Okay. That works for me.
So whether or not he realizes that we are the Ripper, I'm about to drop that bomb.
Yeah, if you don't, I will. So do it.
Okay. So Lash, game on. Lash says, "You know exactly who we are," and he came back and said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Does the name the Ripper sound familiar?"
My hand is
Nonplussed.
Like centimeters closer to my blaster. Centimeters closer.
Nonplussed, he goes, "The water?"
The Ripper, our ship. We've encountered your people before. We know who you are, Tatari.
Perception rolls. See if he's lying or hiding something or...
If he's going to bristle on us.
26.
16.
19.
Damn it.
18.
I was just sitting there observing, so it kind of makes sense.
You don't see him flinch at all, like he doesn't know. If he's hiding what he knows, he is doing a damn good job of it, because he doesn't show any sort of non-genuine, like, what's the Ripper?
Her looks confused. If you've learned to read Tagorian features, she looks a little like
a cat staring at a wall.
Here over here.
Is it looking at anything? I think its eyes are like spread out too far. Like
following motion that nobody can see.
I believe what my friend is trying to say is that we have had a few miscommunications with people wearing your same pin.
Oh, well, yeah, I represent the Tatari in this sector. Business individuals. Making connections. Shipping.
Lash again. She's getting like emotional outside of what she really wants to be because of the implications here, and she says, "Don't play innocent here, Odant. We already know who you are, and I know that you know who we are."
Then who are you? And he looks at everyone who's not introduced himself. He goes, "Who are you? And who are you? And who are you? And who are you?"
So she's going to mention
Haro, do you always keep such rude company?
not been rude.
He turns to you and says, "Thank you, Hakru. You are not rude. But your friends seem to be standoffish for some reason."
Well,
as
buddy,
you
let's
heard
just
yesterday,
say-
there was trouble, and
I've
they-
come to give my support and help.
But you
So,
can understand that
Lash-
people who recently had trouble are not always smooth sailing, so to speak, immediately after.
That's
Like
why I'm
walks
here
over-
to help.
Lash
Yes,
walks up closer to him and says, "If you're in charge of the Tatari here, then you know what they were doing on Daghi and how they were treating the people there."
And with that, when you say Daghi, he slowly turns to you and he goes, "Daghi? Were you on Daghi?" The
Several
Ripper.
times.
The Ripper. And
Genuinely didn't know.
he's,
I don't think we're big enough fish for him to know us by name. Apparently,
he says,
He's about to.
"The dynamic class freighter? Is that the Ripper?"
It
And
is a
she-
dynamic class favor, yes.
Yeah,
Ah.
Don, I don't.
So who
She
are
gives
you
a
again?
bow.
And he turns and looks at you officially and holds out his hand. He says, "I'm Odant. Who are you?"
I am Hakru.
I'll take
went
Odon's
over this
hand and I'll
already.
say,
Cruz
"Odon,
keeps standing up and
I'm-"
bowing and saying, "I'm a crew," and he's not even face. He's got his hand out to Lashara.
Oh, sure.
He goes, I assume you're the leader here.
Lash says, "My name is not important. All you need to know is we have dealt with your operation on Daghi. You don't have to play dumb here in front of us. We already know about your operation and what your group stands for, and we are not going to allow it anymore."
Do you all agree with her? And he turns around and faces each one of you and like holds his hands out to you, and then to you, and then to you.
So
We're
I'm
just kind of standing there like the equivalent of arms folded, non-reactive. Just
I'm waiting until everybody else has gotten done.
Anybody respond
You're
to
out
him?
of my depth,
I keep
my
stepping.
grasp of this language.
Lash could use your help, Don.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell Odon I'm Chad, and one day I'll give you a gift. You'll love it.
He kind of looks at you strangely, then turns to the rest.
So, Dot, what my colorful companions are trying to say is that we appreciate your offer of help. We would also appreciate the ability to continue doing what we're doing unabated. Do you think we can come to a business decision?
40%.
40% of?
Your shipping of Tor off of Daghi.
I see. 40%. That would have to be something that would be brokered with the person who we're working with here. We already have an agreement. You do understand contracts, obviously, as a businessman of your stature.
He points to
Haro.
Haro and
Yeah.
says, "This
I
is
was
up to
named
you
first.
then." Yeah. "This is up to you. They've just put this ball in your court.
No,
So 40% of your Tor business." Haro sits there for a second. He stands up and he says, "You can stick that."
I like the way that Haro thinks.
you
I
do
think-
see Rura smile at that one.
If you step foot on my campus again, there will be consequences for you and the others.
Hey,
Odant
hold on.
puts his hands down to his side. He says, "I've tried. I'm sorry we could not come to an agreement.
Before
I
you
will let
go,
them know."
I just thought I would let you know a few names. How about Goshi Base?
He looks a little startled when you say that.
Oh, and by the way, how about the name of hey, and I look at Lashara without using her name. What was the name of that person that we were discussing before this gentleman showed up?
Your enforcer?
No, not the Dark Enforcer. Who, by the way, we tracked all the way to their exit point. We watched them as they left the bomb site. We watched them as they went to their speeder. We can track him. Also, what is that superior's name? The person that Odant works for? Look.
Scoria.
Oh yes, Scoria. That's right. I forgot. By the way, how are things going on planet? Anyone? Planet
Rompow.
Yeah,
Ron
Ron
Pow. With the two active parties. Do you think it's possible that I could cause significant problems for you?
This.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
What would this be? What would you be rolling for this?
Intimidation.
Yeah.
I think we call it persuasion.
And I am going to use a
If persuasion's higher,
It is
use
persuasion.
persuasion. Yeah.
But there is no intimidation skill. It's persuasion.
There you go.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
persuasion. I'm not only going to use a force point, but can I use one of those super duper magic
The
points?
destiny points. I just
Is
roll.
my destiny tied into?
Yeah, you could always use it later if you I would roll, and then see if you need to spend a force point, and then if you really need to spend a destiny point, then
Okay.
spend it. You don't have to declare it ahead of time.
I got you. All right, rolling. So the roll that I have is 26. I will spend a force point.
Do you have any reroll stuff on any of your things, or any?
Not on persuasion, I don't think.
Perception, wasn't it?
Gimmick,
No,
master
persuasion.
slice,
Oh, no,
surprise.
persuasion. What am I thinking? Anyways.
Okay, I just want to make sure there's nothing else crazy that you
Options
have.
you're missing.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will spend a force point,
Okay.
and so the total amount is now 30.
Okay.
Is there any other way that I can bolster that number?
That's a pretty high DC to hit. Period. So.
Okay. I
You
just want to.
as you're
I wanna
going through
drive
this,
the point in.
right? What happens is he tries to keep calm and collected. As you keep going, his eyes start darting and he starts sweating a little bit. Especially starting with Goshi Base, it really threw him. When you said his boss, that really threw him. And when you said this planet that they're dealing with, he kind of, and he starts backing up while like fidgeting toward the elevator.
Do we have an understanding?
I'll have to go back and talk to him.
I
These
want-
donuts of energy hit him, and he falls down like. You guys turn back, and Haro's got a blaster out. Says, "I'm tired of talking to this guy. We've just thrown all our cards on the table." And
I
he
do recognize
puts
the stun setting, right?
he puts the gun down, and he motions to some droids, and they go over and pick his body up and start dragging him out. He
If
says,
we were just going to shoot him, I could have done that.
We didn't kill him.
He says, "I'm tired. I'm tired of this. Do you have his ship? You
We
can
do now.
you can go to Goshi Base in his ship that they all know. Do what you got to do."
Exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah. Do we have any explosives?
We have explosives.
You have some left, but you're not sure.
Not
The
us. You.
oh,
Haro.
he says, "I have some, but if you need the quantity to blow up a base that houses 2,000 to 3,000 people, that could take like a week to get, or
Okay, we
more."
don't have that kind of time.
Because that's if it's that big, he has the explosives to maybe blow up, not even to blow up the building that got blown up on his place.
Okay.
Can we use a ship as an explosive?
I don't think
A
so.
reactor core breach or something.
Yeah, I don't think Star Wars has anything
Oh no
really
no
like that.
no! We can fire the hyperdrive right into the
Okay.
freaking shit.
No, we can't do that. If you
By the
had,
way, that
if
was-
you had
You
the
can
X,
only do that when you're running out of gas.
right?
Oh my god!
Okay. All right.
In space.
Sorry, fans. Are you getting our anger here?
All right,
There is no such thing as perpetual motion.
not in space. I mean, okay.
I christen this ship the Ryan Johnson.
the
Oh, good. Oh, we all want to blow it up that much more.
Not to be confused with Rain Johnson, very different person.
yeah, Ruin Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's the guy that plays Mud? What's that guy's name?
Mud.
Vincent Harcourt Mud.
The new one or the old one?
The new one. He was in.
He was in The
Battle
Office. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
think of his name
Hey.
offhand.
Not important right now. Okay.
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson. That's it. Okay. Wilson, not Johnson.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Terrible joke. Please
We
continue.
could always check this guy's ship and see if he's got some like detailed blueprints of the space station and see if there's a weak point.
Yeah, and I also think I need to update my order on security spikes. Can I teach everybody how to use them? Because maybe we can overload their network once we get there. Cause some real crazy havoc.
Or you can get in and get out and get information. That was the original
Just wanna
plan, wasn't it?
cause as much pain as possible.
So I hate to do this, guys, but there's a situation that has just crept up at my house.
This has been a production of Gaming Without Gaming, all rights reserved. Visit us at gamingwithoutgaming.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/gamingwithoutgaming. Title music is by Greg Braun. Find him on soundcloud.com/Clara7. That's KLARA-7. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Gaming Without Gaming logo music is by Kevin MacLeod.